How you doing there? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we're studying Daf Vav, Daf 106, Masechta BavaKama. Friends. Wow. Chevre, Daf Vav is a big old daf, and it's Friday afternoon. Shabbos is in like 45 minutes. I feel, first of all, we're not going to do the whole daf just because it's such a big and sort of just slow moving daf that like I ran out of time to review all of it. So like we're definitely not doing the whole thing in one sitting because I didn't get to the bottom of the review yet. But anyways, I highly doubt that 45 minutes is going to be enough for this daf. But BavaKama, I mean, big old dafs. All right. Well, should I roll up my sleeves? Yeah. I mean, what should I roll up my sleeves? Obviously, I should roll up my sleeves. 1 second. All right. Now my sleeves are rolled up. A friend of mine came over. It's Friday afternoon. A friend of mine stopped by while I was reviewing Babylon Talmud. A risky business. Yeah, he said he was coming for 4 minutes. Probably came for 15, but it's all right. It's fine. But yeah, If you want to see me, you have to come over and you have to knock on the door and yell my name, because knocking on the door isn't enough. If you knock on the door, I won't open. If you knock on my door and you yell my name, then okay, fine, I'll come. But anyways, we drank a shtick of whiskey, but I think not enough to derail my mind. I think I don't think that the whiskey will derail my mind any more than BavaKama derails my mind. All right, let's go. Where am I? All right, so I guess I just shared the secret. If you want to see me, I don't know why you'd want to see me. If you want to see me, you knock on the door and you yell my name. All right, fine. Kufay Umud Beis, where are we? Okay, fine. Okay, Chevre. This is a big old daf. All right, we're gonna, because we also have a bunch of stuff to do on daf. Kufay Umud Beis. Okay. These are huge dafs. I think next week also is going to be big old dafs. I don't know. The end of BavaKama is huge. All right, let's go. We got to go back there. Okay, also right. Shabbos is coming. We got to go. Okay. So daf Kufay Amud Beis, like 10, 15 lines from the bottom. Omer of Sheshis, right? The word Omer is the second word on the line. The first word on the line is Demei, dummy. Did we even get up to that? I think so, yeah. Okay. Omer of Sheshis, yo. Says of Sheshis, Hakofer bepikadin naise olav gazlin v'chayav beonsin. Wow. Okay. Fine. So says of Sheshis. Let's read that again. Hakofer bepikadin. Somebody who okay. So okay. Fine. Okay. What's going on here? Okay. Shimon gives, I don't know, I think we could say it's an ox, to Ruvain to guard, okay? And Ruvain says, I don't know what you're talking about, Shibit. Sorry, Mom. So, Amr of Sheshis, Akofer b'pikadin. So, Ruvain says to Shimon, I don't know what you're talking about. Cow? What's a cow? Naise olav gazlin. The denial alone, even without a shvuah, the denial alone, Naisa Olav Gazlin makes him a thief, V'chayav Be'onsin, and therefore, if now anything happens to Shimon's cow, Ruvain will be chayiv, because Ruvain is now a thief, and a thief is chayiv for everything. V'tanetune, and we have a brayse, V'kichesh, that when the pasuk says, what does the pasuk say? O motza aveda v'kichesh ba v'nishba al sheker alachas mikol asher yaisa adam lachto ba'eno. So that pasuk, when it says v'kichesh, so v'tanatun v'kichesh ba, when it says that he denies lamadnu onesh, so we learned the punishment. What's the punishment? That the punishment says, I think in the next pasuk, yes, o motza aveda v'kichesh ba v'nishba al sheker. Okay, then the next pasuk says, I'm reading the psukim. There you go. Wait, where am I? Okay, and what's this? No, that's not what I want. Yeah, whatever. Okay, so the punishment is that he needs to that he's going to be chayiv for anything. He's a thief, and that even simply just denying that he knows anything about this cow means that if anything happens to it, he's going to be chayiv, and he's going to have to return either the cow or the value to Shimon. Lamanu onesh. Okay, so from v'kichesh ba we learn out onesh, the punishment that he has to return it, and he's chayiv for own sin and everything. As haraminayin, where do we have a warning for this behavior? That if a fellow denies knowing anything about Shimon's, that if Reuben denies knowing anything about Shimon's cow, where do we have a warning not to deny it? Tamaloma, the pasuk says, Lo schachashu. It says in Parshas Kedoshim, do not deny. And we're saying, right, it says, Velo sishavu bishmi la shoker right after that in the next pasuk. So we see that we're talking about, wait, what? No, wait, what? Wait, what? No, forget that. Right, it says v'chishesh. So v'kichesh. Wait, and what's that? No. Okay. V'kichesh ba lamanu onesh asar minayin tamlomer lo schachshu. So it says in Parshas Kedoshim lo schachshu. So that's the warning. Don't do that. Don't be a denier. And then the pasuk says, in the context of Reuven and Shimon's cow, that v'kichesh ba, and that teaches that merely denying it is enough for you to be considered a thief, and you'll be chayiv for own sin. Okay, Chavre, it's been like 8 minutes. We've done 3 lines. Big old daf. Okay, my lab leonesh mammon, and it must be that we're talking about simply denying, right? Leonesh mammon, kilu, as opposed to, as we're going to see in a second, onesh shvua. Right? We're not talking about a swear. We're talking about simply denying having any responsibility, right? Reuben is denying any knowledge of Shimon's cow. All right. Lo nisht leonesh shvua. No, we're talking about the onesh of shvua, meaning we're not just talking about where Reuben merely denied knowledge of Shimon's cow. He actually made a shvua that shvua that he doesn't have Shimon's cow, or I guess he's denying that he ever received it. Okay, fine. 1 second. Yeah. I guess we could just say that Reuben denied that he ever received Shimon's cow. Okay, fine. So that's what we're talking about. So we're talking about that he's chayiv if he made a shvua, but not if he simply, for a mere denial. Okay. Hamidiktani seifa de ishtiba, v'chal de lo ishtiba. But the seifa that we're going to see in a second is talking about where Reuven swore, and therefore, if the seifa, the continuation of the brisa, is talking about where Reuven swore, well, then the initial part, the first part of the brisa, must be talking about where he didn't swear; he merely denied it. The katani seifa that we say in the continuation of the brisa, v'nishba al shoker. I believe it's v'nishba al shoker. Yes, v'nishba al. The nekudas are too small, but I think it's shoker. So the katani seifa v'nishba al shoker. Lamanu onesh. So right. So the brisa continues and says that he swore falsely, and we learned that the onesh that he's going to be chayiv. So as hara minayin. So where do we have a warning not to swear? Tamalom lo sishakru, do not lie, and this is where, that's why I got confused earlier. But this right immediately after lo sishakru in Parshas Kedoshim, it says lo sishakru ish ba'amito, and it says v'lo sishavu bishmi la shoker, that don't swear. So that is a warning for not swearing. And here we're saying that if you swear falsely, you're going to be chayiv. And with the seifa, the ishtiba, reisha, lav the ishtiba. And therefore, if the continuation of the brisa is talking about where Reuven swore, Well, then it must be that the initial part, the first part of the brisa is talking about where he did not swear, he merely denied it, and we're saying that he's going to be responsible, and therefore that is a proof for Rav Sheshes, who says that a mere denial is enough for him to be chayiv. Amrei idvidi de ishtiba nisht. You could say that the Reisha and the Seifa of the Brisa are talking about where Ruvain swore. So why do I need it twice? Kan shehoda, kan shibo edim. Well, after Ruvain swears that he doesn't have Shimon's cow, two things can then happen. One thing that can happen is that witnesses can show up and say that actually he does have Shimon's cow. That's one possible outcome. Another outcome could be that Reuven decides, wait, I want to admit that I actually have Shimon's cow. So therefore, right? So we have so both the Reisha and the Seifa are talking about when Reuven swore, but one is talking about when he swears and then admits it, and the punishment will be that he's chayiv keren v'chomesh ve'osham, and the other outcome will be that witnesses come and testify that he really has it, in which case he'll be chayiv to pay the principal amount. Okay, so idvidi de ishtaba kan shehoda kan shebo edim. Osu edim, if witnesses come chayiv be'onsin. If witnesses came and say that Reuven really has it and he's chayiv, if anything happens to the cow, he's going to be chayiv for it. Oduye odi, and if Reuven admits, after swearing, he admits that he really has the cow, chayiv bekeren v'chomesh ve'osham, then he's going to be chayiv keren v'chomesh ve'osham. Mosiv Rami bar Chama. Rami bar Chama asks a kasha. V'sheknegdo choshud al hashvua. Now, generally speaking, and as we're going to see again later on, hopefully today before Shabbos, but as you can see, we're not even on today's daf yet, and we're already several minutes in, so hopefully I won't run out of time before Shabbos. But al kopanim, as we're going to see a little bit later, if we get there today, well, you're going to get there today because it's on today's daf, but the question is, I'm going to get there today. Let's go weiter. So generally speaking, and I think that this came up relatively recently as well, that generally speaking, the way that shvuas work is that the person who has the money right now will swear that he doesn't need to pay, and then he can keep the money, as opposed to the person who is seeking money to, right, it does not work that the person seeking money swears that he's telling the truth and then he can collect the money. That's not how we generally do the shvuas. Generally, it's the person who currently has the money. So for example, if Shimon is claiming $1,000 from Reuven would swear that he already paid it back and then he doesn't need to pay. It's not that Shimon would swear that he's owed the money and then Reuven has to pay him. However, there are certain scenarios where it's flipped. There are certain scenarios where actually Shimon would swear that he is entitled to the money and then he can collect it. And v'shekenegdo choshid ala shvuah. For example, if Reuven is suspect when it comes to shvuas, Ketzad, why would he be suspect when it comes to shvuas? Echad shvuas ha'edus, well, maybe because he once denied knowing testimony and he swore that he doesn't know any testimony when he did. V'echad shvuas ha'pikoden, or maybe somebody had deposited something by him to watch and then he denied that he had it and he swore about that. V'afilu shvuas shav, or even a shvua, right? If he swears that a stone beam is a gold beam, meaning he swore something that's obviously wrong, right? He swore that, right? So something that made out of stone is made out of gold. It's not true. Now, even in that case, right, meaning where there's no bein adam l'chaver, it didn't cause anybody to lose any money. In any of those scenarios, that would be a reason to not trust Ruvain to swear to keep his money, and in that case, the person seeking the money would then swear and then collect. Now, ve'im isa. Now, if what Rav Sheshes is saying is correct, that merely denying having the pikadin is enough to be considered a gazlin, so then why does the Brisa say that shvuis ha pikadin? That if Reuven swore that he does not have Shimon's cow, then he would no longer be trusted for shvuis. But b'kfira hu de'ifsil lei. But if what Rav Sheshes is saying, that you can be considered a gazlan even from simply denying having the cow, even if you didn't swear about it, so then why are we saying Davka when he swears about it he would be considered not trustworthy with regard to shvuas? Even if he simply denied having Shimon's cow, that would be enough to make him a gazlan, and he should not be trustworthy when it comes to shvuas. So Amri, they say, Hacha b'mai oskinon dekai be'agom dilav kfira hu. Well, this brisa does not mention the denial, because the brisa is talking about a scenario where the cow is rolling in the rushes down by the riverside. Meaning, the cow is not currently in Reuven's possession. The cow is currently rolling in the rushes down by the riverside, and therefore, when Reuven denies having Shimon's cow, he's not actually denying that he has Shimon's cow. He's just trying to buy some time. Where I will go and sneak away. Let me go get the cow and bring it back. So therefore, it's not a real denial, because he's really just saying it so that he can go and collect the cow from the rushes down by the riverside. But Rav Sheshes would still maintain that in general, if Reuven would deny that he has Shimon's cow and Shimon's cow is in his house, so that would be a problem. He would be considered a gazlan. Teida, you should know, the Amr of Idi bar Ovin, says Rav Idi bar Ovin, Akofer b'milveh kosher le'edos, that a person who denies having a loan is kosher to testify, to be an aid, but b'pikadin pasol le'edis. But if he denies having a deposit, then he's pasol le'edis. What should be the difference between a loan and a deposit? If Shimon says to Reuven, you owe me, I lent you $1,000. Reuven says, I don't know what you're talking about, Shimon. Reuven's kosher le'edus. If Shimon says to Reuven, give me my cow back, and Reuven says, I don't know what you're talking about, Reuven is patur le'edus. What's the difference? The difference is, milveh lo'tzoah nitno. The difference is that when Shimon loans Reuven $1,000, the expectation is that Reuven is not going to hold on to the $1,000, he's going to spend the $1,000, that he doesn't have the $1,000. And that denial, he's denying that he has that Shimon loaned him $1,000, that he owes Shimon $1,000. He also doesn't have the $1,000 right now in his possession, as opposed to when Shimon says, hey, give me back my cow, and he says, I don't have the cow, and he actually has it in his possession. So we see that there's a difference between if it's in his possession right now versus if it isn't. So Rav Sheshes would say that if he denies something when it is in your possession, so then you would be considered a gazlan, as we saw, right? Pikadin pasol le'edus, that if you deny having a pikadin, a deposit, you're pasol le'edus. But if it's not currently in your possession and you deny it, so then you will be patur. Ve'omar ilfa, but didn't ilfa say shvue kone? that a shvuah is what makes it in your possession, and that then you're going to be chayav for onsin and things like that. Shvuah hu de kanye avol kfira lo kanye. So the Ilfa says that Davka, when Ruvain swears, at that point it would be considered in his possession, and if anything happens to it, he'd be liable. But if he simply denies it, if he's kofir it, so then he would not be considered a gazlan and be chayav for onsin. Hachonami, and for the Gemara here also the kaima be'agam, you could say that it's talking about where the cow is rolling in the rushes down by the riverside, and that is why he is potter if he denies having it, but if he would be in his possession, he would be chayiv if he denies having it, according to Rav Sheshes. Alternatively, my shvuah kone, when Ilfa says shvuah is kone, what's he talking about? He's talking about, and Cheved, listen up, because this is going to be the focus of the next big chunk of this daf until Kuf Vav Amud Bey, until the 2 dots on Kuf Vav Amud Bey. This what we're saying now is going to now be the focus of the daf. Alternatively, what does it mean that a shvuah is kone? My shvuah kone kid Rav Huna, like Rav Huna dam Rav Huna Marav. Mono li beyodcha. If Shimon says to Ruvain, you owe me $100. Sorry, just rubbing my eye. Okay, Shimon says to Ruvain, you owe me $100. Vehala Omer, and Ruvain says, Ein lecha biyadi. No, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't have your $100. I don't owe you anything. Vinishba, and Ruvain swore that he does not owe Shimon anything. Ve'achar kach ba'u eidim, and then afterwards witnesses come and they testify that Ruvain in fact does owe Shimon money. Potter. Nonetheless, Ruvain is potter. Shenemar's potter says v'lokach bailav v'lo yishalim. Kevin shekiblo abailim shvua, that right v'lokach, he took upon himself a shvua that once Ruvain swears that he does not have Shimon's, right, that Shimon never gave him $100. He doesn't know what Shimon's talking about. Once he swears, shuv ein mishalim mammon, he doesn't pay money anymore. And therefore, if Ruvain swore that he doesn't know what Shimon is talking about, even if witnesses come and testify that Ruvain does in fact have Shimon's money, Ruvain does not need to pay Shimon because he swore. V'lokach bailav v'lo yishalim, that once he swears, he doesn't need to pay. Okay, what time is it? It's 4:20. Okay, I got another 25 minutes until I gotta stop. I don't think that I'm gonna get to Amud Beis in the next 25 minutes, but I'll get as far as I get. Chef is a big old off. We're 25 minutes in. We're like literally just getting up to Kuvav. I knew this was going to be a big one. Okay, so now as I just said, we are going to delve deep into that statement of Rav just now. Gufa Amar Rav Huna Amar Rav. Says Rav Huna in the name of Rav. Mana li biyodcha. Shimon says to Ruvain, hey Ruvain, you have $100 of mine. V'hala Omer, and Ruvain says, Ein lecha biyodi klum, you don't have anything in my possession. V'nishba, Ruvain then swears that he has nothing of Shimon's. Uvo eidim, but then witnesses come and say, Ruvain, you do have stuff that belongs to Shimon. Potter, nonetheless, Ruvain does not need to pay Shimon because he swore. Shenemar, and he didn't subsequently admit it. He swore, he never admitted. Shenemar, as the pasuk says, V'lokach bailov v'lo yishalim, that once Ruvain swears that he does not have anything that belongs to Shimon, v'lo yishalim, he does not need to pay anything, even if witnesses come. Came Shekiblo Bailim, Shavua. Once Ruvain swears, Shuv Ein Mishalmin Mamon, he is not going to have to pay money to Shimon anymore. On my Rove, says Rove, Mistavra Milse Dirav Bimilve. So logically, I would say that what Rav is saying makes sense when it comes to a loan. Delotza nitna, because loans are meant to be spent. Loans are meant to be spent, and to kind of built into the concept of a loan is that you're not going to have it in a certain sense, and I guess that makes it somewhat, I don't know, less severe in a certain sense. Well, let's go weiter. Aval pikodin, but a collateral. So if Shimon lent Reuven his cow or something, or Reuven's guarding Shimon's cow, pikodin b'shusei demare koi. But a pikodin, if Reuven has Shimon's cow, I don't care if he swore, he should have to give Shimon back his cow. Okay, so therefore, so Rava says, in theory, I would say that I can understand Rav's position that once Reuven swears he does not need to pay Shimon. That I can understand that when it comes to a loan that anyways is meant to be spent. But if Reuven actually has Shimon's cow, I would say that even if Reuven swears that he doesn't have it, if he does, he should have to give it back. But the Elohim Omarav Afilu Bipikodin. But the fact of the matter is, says Rava, that Rab says, makes his assertion even by a pikodin, even by a deposit. Even if Reuven has Shimon's cow, and he denies having it, he would never have to. He swears about it. He would never have to pay it back to Shimon. Because when the pasuk is written of v'lokach ba'alav v'lo yishalem, it's in the context of a pikodin, and therefore he would not have to pay back Shimon even if he has Shimon's cow. Fine. Yosef Riv Nachman v'ke Omar leho shmaite. Okay, so Rav Nachman was saying over this sugya, Eis ve'Rav Acha bar Manyomi l'Rav Nachman. So now Rav Acha bar Manyomi asks a kasha to Rav Nachman, Heichon pikdoni. There's a Mishnah that says that if Shimon says to Reuven, hey Reuven, where is my cow? Omar le ovad. Reuven says, oh, it got lost. Mashbi'acho oni ve'omar omen. And then Be'etzem Reuven swears that it got lost. Ve'a'idim me'idim oso she'achalo. But then come witnesses and they say, what is Reuven talking about? He's swearing that it got lost? That's not true. He ate it. Mishalem es hakeren. He has to pay the principal amount for the cow. Hoda me'atzmo. If he admitted it on his own, without witnesses coming to incriminate him, mishalem keren v'chomesh v'ashim. So then, then if he admitted after he swore, so then he'll have to pay keren v'chomesh v'ashim. So we see that even though he's swearing, he is still, right, the witness is coming, he has to pay. Omle Rav Nachman, so Rav Nachman says to Rav Acha bar Manyomi ochav mayaskinon kigon de nishba chutz lebezdin. Says Rav Nachman, that price is talking about where he swore outside of Bezdin. Meaning, when Rab says that if Reuven swears, so then then he never has to pay Shimon. That's what we're talking about, a proper swear, like an in Bezdin swear. But this swear was outside of Bezdin, which isn't like a hardcore swear, and therefore even post swear he would still have to pay Shimon if witnesses come and incriminate him. Omar lei. So Rav Acha bar Manyomi responds to Rav Nachman, Yochi, if that's the case, Ema Seifa, but what about the continuation of the Brisa? Heichon Pikdoni. Shimon says to Ruvain, hey, where is my cow? Omar lo, Ruvain says, Nignov, it got stolen. Then he swears Be'etzim. Ruvain swears that it's stolen. So now we're talking about Toyin Tainas Ganif. Ruvain swears that Shimon's cow got stolen. Ve'edim me'idim oso sheganovo, and then witnesses come and say, no, Ruvain, it didn't get stolen from Ruvain. Ruvain himself stole it. Mishalim tashlume kefel. Well, then Ruvain is going to have to pay kefel to Shimon, because he's a ganif. Hoide me'atzmo, if Ruvain admitted it on his own, well then mishalim keren va'omesh va'osham, he will pay. Ruvain will pay keren va'chomesh va'osham if he admitted it on his own. Now, the seifa cannot, right? So meaning we're saying that if witnesses come, Ruvain is chayiv to pay kefel. Now, that can hit this. In order for Ruvain to be chayiv to pay kefel for Toyin Tainas Ganif, the swear, when he swore that it got stolen, that must have been in Bezdin. V'salkadaite chutz lebezdin, and if you're gonna say, if it enters your mind that he's swearing outside of Bezdin, mi'ika kefel, then there wouldn't be any kefel. And the fact that he's chayiv from kefel in this scenario means that his swear is in Bezdin, and still, when the witnesses come, he's still chayiv to pay. Omar lei, so if Nachman responds, look, Yachilno l'shanuye lach reisha chutz lebezdin v'seifa bebezdin. Look, technically, I could give you a kind of cop-out answer that, well, the reisha is outside of Bezdin, and that's why he's chayiv to pay in the case of Ovad, and by Toyin Tainas Ganif, the swear is in Bezdin, which is why he's chayiv kefel. But I don't want to give you a cop-out answer. Idi ve'idi bebezdin, rather, both scenarios are happening in Bezdin, both by Toyin Tainas Ovad and by Toyin Tainas Ganif. V'lo kasha, it's no question, kan be kofatz, kan b'shelo kofatz. In the Reisha, Shimon jumped the gun. Shimon is claiming that Ruvain has his cow. Shimon jumped the gun and had Ruvain swear before the Bezdin imposed the swear upon Ruvain, and therefore it's not such a strong swear, and that is why when witnesses come and say that he that he ate the cow, he will be chayiv to pay for it. And the seifa that talks about kefel is when Shimon didn't jump the gun and Bezdin imposed a swear on Ruvain, and then Ruvain will be chayiv to pay kefel. So now it says Rami bar Chome to Rav Nachman Michdei. Let's see. Dirav lo svira loch. Okay, so what did I just say? Rami bar Chome to Rav Nachman. So Rami bar Chome says to Rav Nachman Michdei. I don't understand. Dirav lo svira loch. You don't hold like Rav. Mashkone navshach ad Rav lo malach. Why are you going out of your way to explain Rav if you don't actually hold like Rav? Amar lei. So if Nachman responds, Lifarusha lidirav, well, to explain Rav, the Rav Achim Mitaritz the Masisin, just to explain how Rav would remedy this Mishnah. V'arav kra ka'amar. So now, frek the Gemara, shouldn't everybody have to agree with Rav? Rav, after all, is providing a pasuk of v'lokach ba'ila v'lo yishalim. Oh, so I said earlier I wasn't sure if we were going to get here, I was going to have enough time to get here. So apparently I do, which is good. So v'arav kra ka'amar. Amre, they say kra l'chol hanishboin shebatorah nishboin v'lo mishalmen hu de'asa. That pasuk from which Rav learns that once you swear you're part from paying, we learn from it that it is the one who has the money currently in his possession is the one who swears, right? Right? L'chol anishboin shebatorah, that whenever we have somebody who swears in the Torah, nishboin v'lo mishalmen, that they swear and then they do not need to pay because they swore that they don't need to pay, as opposed to swearing and then collecting. V'lokach bailov v'lo mishalmen u'da'asa v'lokach bailov v'lo yishalem misha olav lishalem hu nishba. Right, that v'lokach bailov, that the people who currently have the money would take upon themselves to swear v'lo yishalem, and then they would not need to pay. Misha olav lishalem, that the one who needs to pay hu nishba, he's the one who swears, and then once he swears, then he doesn't need to pay. Mosiv Rav Hamnuna. Rav Hamnuna asks a kasha. Hishbia olav chamisha paimim. There's a shtickle confusing brisa. Hishbia olav chamisha paimim. If I guess Shimon owes Reuben owes Shimon $1,000, and Shimon had him swear 5 times. Bein bifnei bezdin ubein shelo bifnei bezdin. Whether this was in front of bezdin, whether it was not in front of bezdin. V'kafar olav, and he denies it. Chayav al kol achas ve'achas, then he's going to be chayav 5 times. Rashi says chomesh ve'asham. Okay, I guess when he admits it, I imagine. Or well, he's going to be chayav chomesh ve'asham. Where am I? Reb Shimon, Reb Shimon says, how come? Hoil v'yochol lachzor ulehodos. Since he would be able to, in between each one, he would be able to admit that that he owes the money, then he would have to pay the money. So therefore, it's considered like a separate denial, 5 separate times. So be'etzem, the kasha is that we're saying that Reuven is swearing, and yet we're saying that he would be chayiv to pay. V'hacha kofatz lo matzis omart, and here you cannot say that it's talking about where Shimon jumped the gun. Hishbia olav kotanik, it says hishbia olav, which implies that Bezdin imposed a swear upon him. Not that Shimon jumped the gun. Chutz the Bezdin lo matzis omart, and you can't say that it's talking about outside of Bezdin, because Bifnei Bezdin Katani, it mentions that it's in Bezdin. So apparently, we're talking about even when Bezdin imposes a swear upon Reuven in Bezdin, still he would have to pay. Where am I? Humosav lavu mefarikla. So if Amnuna asked the kasha, then he answered the kasha. Litzdadin katane, that you have to understand this brisa. Litzdadin, like you put the comma in the middle, kind of like you split it in half. Hishbia olav chutz lebezdin. Well, either it could be talking about where Bezdin imposed the judges imposed a shvuah on Reuven, but it was outside of Bezdin. Uvi Bezdin, and in Bezdin, Kofatz, Shimon jumped the gun. And that is why Reuven is going to be chayiv to pay. But if if a shvua was imposed upon Ruvain in Bezdin, and he swore that he didn't have this money, so then he would be potter once he swore. Mosiv Rave asks Akasha. Bal habayis shetoan tainis ganif. That if you have, right, Shimon, Ruvain is watching Shimon's cow, and then Ruvain claims that it got stolen, right? So where am I? So Balabai Shetoan Tanis Ganif Bipikodon Vinishba Vehoda. So if Ruvain swore that Shimon's cow got stolen, and then he admitted that it was not stolen, Uvau Edim, and witnesses come, Im Ad Shelo Ba'u Edim Hoda, if Ruvain admitted it before the witnesses came, Mishalim Keren Vachomesh Ve'osham, so then he has to pay the principal plus a fifth plus Korban Osham. V'mishabau Edim Hoda, and if he admitted after the witnesses had already come, Mishalim Tashlume Kefel Ve'osham, so you pay Tashlume Kefel and a Korban Osham. So we see that when the witnesses come, he's going to be chayiv. He's going to be chayiv to pay. V'hacha chutz. Is that the it's the Shabbos thing? All right, we're just going to get to the end of this. V'hacha chutz lebezdin, and over here, wait, v'kapatz lo matzah. You cannot say that it's talking about where he swore outside of Bezdin, or that Shimon jumped the gun, because Kefel Katani, because we say that Ruvain is chayiv to pay Kefel if the witnesses come. So, and that would only be if the shvua was imposed upon him in Bezdin. So we're talking about where he swore in Bezdin, and yet he's still going to be chayiv to pay. So Ela Amar Rava, rather says Rava, Kol hoda lo shna toin tainas ovad velo shna toin tainas ganif lo omar Rav. So now Rava is actually coming to I don't know what the word is I'm thinking of. Rava is coming to kind of like put some limitations, put some structure, put some parameters upon Rav's statement. Rav had said that if Ruvain swears that he doesn't have Shimon's cow, so he will never have to pay Shimon. That sounds kind of like a global thing, but it's not. It's actually in a specific case. And let's read this again. So Amar Rava, Kol Hoda, that if Ruvain is swearing and then admitting that actually he swore falsely, well then Lo Shna Toin Tanis Ovid, it doesn't matter if Ruvain had sworn that it got lost. Veloshna Toin Tanis Ganif, it doesn't matter if Ruvain had sworn that it got stolen. Lo Omar Rav. Rav would not say that he would never have to pay. That's double negative. Whatever. In that case, right, in those, well, there, Ruvain would have to pay. Okay? When it comes to Toin Tanis Ganif, when it comes to Toin Tanis Ovad, and then he admits it, of course, he has to pay Keren V'chomesh V'asham. The Hoksiv, Vizvado, the Baishalume, Keren V'chomesh, period. Yeah, exactly. Right. I mean, right. The pasuk says if a fellow swears and then he admits it, he has to pay Keren V'chomesh V'asham. So Rav agrees with that. And Toin Tanis Ganif Uvo Edim Nami. And also when it comes to Toin Tanis Ganif, if Ruvain would swear that it was stolen, and then witnesses came and testified that he himself stole it, so also there, Rav would say that he would pay kefil. Lo amar Rav doksiv tashlume kefil. The pasuk specifically says kefil in the context of Toin Tanis Ganif. Ki ka'amar Rav, when Rav says that when he swears he doesn't need to pay, kigon shetoin tainos ovad. For example, if Ruvain said that Shimon's cow got lost, v'nishba, and he swore that it got lost, v'lo hoda, and he did not admit that he's lying. And this is not toin tanis ganif, it's toin tanis ovad. And then uvahu edim, and witnesses came. Period. That is where Rav would say that Reuben does not need to pay. When he swears that the animal got lost, and then witnesses came and testified that he has it, so then he would not need to pay, because of the pasuk it says v'lokach ba'ale v'lo yishalem. Cheveh, I think I need to stop here because Shabbos is starting. Oh, I guess maybe I got about as far as I got around as far as I could have thought. It's a big daf. We're about over 50 minutes, I think, already, and we're not even on Kuvav Mud Beis. I don't think it's going to be an hour and a half, but it's going to be over an hour. I can't see any other way. Also, Rav Gamde v'amra l'shmaite kami de Rav Ashi hua. So Rav Gamde goes and he says over this sugya to Rav Ashi. Okay, all right. So okay. So be'etzim that Rav is saying that if somebody right, Shimon says to Reuven, "Hey, where's my thing?" Reuven says, I don't know what you're talking about, and he swears. So we say that he doesn't have to pay. If witnesses come and say, "Hey, you have it," he doesn't have to pay. So now we said though that if he admits it, then he would have to pay. So also Rav Gamda, V'amar Shmaita, really? Kama de Rav Ashi. Omerle, now Rav Ashi says, Hashto Umar Rav Amnuna Talmidei de Rav. Ho ho. Now Rav Amnuna is Rav's student, his pupil. So Rav Amnuna is Rav's pupil. It's a nice word. So Mistama, Rav Amnuna knows Rav's opinion. V'yodadam Rav Hoda, and Rav knew, and Rav Huna must have known that Rav would say that even in the context of when he admitted it, he would be parted from paying, right? Meaning Rav Amnuna he's Rav's pupil. He's Rav's pupil. And he must have known Rav's opinion, which would make sense to be, that Rav would say that even if Reuven later admits that he has the money, he would still be parted from paying. V'kamosiv hoda. And therefore, Rav Amnuna asked the kasha that, well, what about this brisa, which says that that if he admits it, he'll be chayiv to pay. Vat omart hoda lo omara, and you're saying that Rav says that by hoda he would be chayiv to pay. Then what's the kasha on? So what's Rav Amnuna's kasha? Clearly, Rav Amnuna knew Rav's opinion, and in order for Rav Amnuna to be asking a kasha on Rav by saying, "Hey, it must be that you're chayiv to pay by hoda," it's because Rav says that when you admit it, you would be potter. So Amar, where am I? V'at Amar hoda lo Amar Rav. So Amar Rav Achasova le Rav Ashi. So Rav Achasova says to Rav Ashi, Rav Amnuna achi kokashele. This is what Rav Amnuna was asking. No, Rav Amnuna agrees, right? Rav Amnuna knows that Rav would say that if he's modeh, right, if he swears that he doesn't have it, but then he later admits it, he would be chayiv, right, keren v'chomesh v'asham. What Rav Amnuna was asking was that, well, Rav says that if witnesses come, he would be potter, right? If Reuven says that he doesn't have it, and he swears, and then witnesses come and say, you do have it, he would be potter, because he swore. But now, the thing is, it would make more sense if you say that when witnesses come and say, hey, Reuven, you have it, that Reuven would be chayiv. Ashvu basraisa hoil v'yochol lachzor lahodis. Right? In that brisa that Rav Nuna, that confusing brisa that Rav Nuna had brought, we had said, what did it say? Ishbia olav chamisha paimim. If he imposed a swear on him 5 times, ben bifnei bezin, ben shelo bifnei bezin, v'chafer olav chayv kolachas v'achas v'amar Rav Shimon matam hol v'yochol lachzor lahodis. Since he could theoretically be modeh, and he would be chayiv, so therefore he's chayiv for each one. So I understand if we say that when witnesses come and say that, hey, you have the money, then you would be chayiv. So it makes sense also to say that in that scenario of the 5 times, you'd be chayiv in each one, since theoretically he could be modeh and be chayiv. Let's go weiter for a second. But Rav, if it's like you're saying that when witnesses come and say, hey, Reuven, you have the money, he'd be potter. Potter. How does it make sense that even if witnesses were to come and to testify that he has it, he would be potter, and yet meaning the whole reason why in that brisa, when you basically swore 5 times, you'd be chayiv on each one, is because theoretically he would have been able to be modeh. Now, what's interesting about, or what's strange, Rav Amnuna is asking about Rav's opinion, is that we're saying that since theoretically he can be modeh, therefore he's chayiv for each one. But the thing is, so this kind of makes more sense if, like, look, if witnesses were to come and to say that he has the money, then he would be chayiv. So then that means that he like has something that he would be chayiv for. And if witnesses come and say, hey, you have it, then he would actually be chayiv. And since he could theoretically admit it himself, he'd also be chayiv. So we could be mechayiv him for each one. But if we're saying that if witnesses were to come and testify that he has it, he would still be potter. So even if witnesses mamish come and say you have the money, he'd be potter. It's kind of a stretch to say that we're going to say, well, since theoretically he could admit it, he'd be chayiv, therefore he's chayiv. But like now he didn't actually admit it. And even if other people were to come and testify about him, he would still be potter. So it's just a little bit hard to understand that brisa of us saying, well, theoretically he could admit it. Like, why are we saying that he'd be chayiv because theoretically he could admit it, and like almost like going out of our way to be mechayiv him, when in reality, even if witnesses were to come and testify about him, we wouldn't be mechayiv him. So it's like on the one hand we're kind of like being, getting him off the hook getting him off the hook even if witnesses come. And on the other hand we're like saying you're chayiv because of a theoretical that they could theoretically admit it. Alright, I don't know, that was confusing. Okay, let's go weiter. This is so weird. I just got dressed. What time is it? It's 5 p.m. I just got dressed, but like now, I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I guess like I haven't settled into my clothing yet. It's like bumping against my chin. Yeah, I guess my beard is getting wilder. It's getting wilder too. So, yeah, it's getting more difficult to keep my beard away from the microphone. Anybody have any advice? Don't tell me to cut my beard. That's not good advice. Alright, let's go weiter. Omer Reb Chia bar Abba Omer B'Yechanan. Hatoin Tanis Ganef B'Pikadon. Okay, so, Shimon gives a ox to Ruvain to guard. Ruvain says it got stolen. Ruvain says it got stolen. Right? Shimon comes to get his ox. Ruvain's like, oh, it's stolen. And he swears. So Mishalim Tashlume Kefil. So if witnesses then come and say that that he has it, right? Toin Tanas Ganif, so he has to pay Kefil. Tavachumacher, if it turns out that he slaughtered it or sold it, Misham Tashlum Arba Vachmisha. Hoil Veganiv Mishalim Tashlume Kefil. V'toin Tanas Ganif Misham Tashlume Kefil. Because after all, since a Ganif, if he turns out to be a ganif, he pays kefil. And oichit toyin tainis ganif pays kefil, maganif shu mishalim kefil tovachumocher mishalim tashlumi abba v'achmisha. So just like by a ganif who pays kefil, if he slaughters it or sells it, he pays abba v'achmisha. Sha'af toyin tainis ganif bipikodin. What's the aleph? Shehu mishalim tashlume kefil. So oichit a toyin tanis ganif by a pikodin when he's a shomer who would pay kefil. So tavachumocher mishalim tashlume abba v'achmisha. So if he slaughtered it or if he sold it, you would pay abba v'achmisha. B'frek the Gemara meh maleganif shekain mishalim tashlume kefil shelo b'shvuah. Ho ho! I can make the argument that I understand that okay, we can say that a ganif pays dalid v'hei by tvichu mechira, because after all, it's a more stringent scenario. After all, he could be chayiv kefil even if he didn't swear, right? Meaning a ganif steals epis, and then witnesses come and say you're a thief. He pays kefil. Toma b'toyin tainis ganif shein mishalim tashlumei kefil. But by toyin ela b'shvuah, by toyin tainis ganif, if you have a shemechinam, if you have a shemechinam, now shemechinam, right, an unpaid custodian is potter for gneva v'aveda, right? If it gets stolen or lost, right, he's not getting paid for his watching services. And if it gets stolen or lost, he's potter. Now if he kept it for himself but claimed that it got stolen, and then witnesses come and say that he has it, he would be chayiv to pay kefil, but only if he swears. So we see that that by toyin tanis ganif, it requires more effort to be chayiv. You have to swear first. So therefore, I can make the argument that by a regular ganif, who we don't need him to swear in order to be chayiv kefil, so we can also then take it one step further and say if he slaughters or sells it, is chayiv daled v'hei. But a toyin tainis ganif, which is a little bit more hard, is a more there's more red tape around being mechayiv him, and that he has to swear first. Maybe he would not be chayiv daled v'hei by tvichu mechira. Amri akesha hi ve'mishivin al akesha. Ha ha. We say, but, if you remember from Perek Merubah, right, there's im yimotze aganif ve'im lo yimotze aganif. These two psukim that are right next to each other. One of them is talking about ganif, the other one is talking about toyin tainis ganif, and they are juxtaposed, and if it's juxtaposed, it's juxtaposed, that's that. You can't ask any kashas on it, and therefore, that means the juxtaposition teaches us that just like by a ganif, there's daled v'hei, so oichit, by toyin tanis ganif, they would oichit be daled v'hei. So again, amir akeshi ve'meshivin al akesha, it's a hekish, and we don't have ask kashas on hekishes. Chev, I had another idea for a Purim costume. I mentioned the other day spaghetti with tomato sauce. I think that's a great costume, by the way. I might do it. It's like spaghetti with tomato sauce. The other thing I'm thinking, it'll be kind of consistent with last year's theme. Last year I was a sunflower person. This year I could be a power washer. Yeah, I think it could be a very interesting costume. That I even thought about all sorts of things. That I can get a baby stroller. I think that's what I would get, because it already has the wheels and everything. Get a baby stroller. Then maybe get like some cardboard or something and like make like a truck around, make it into like a truck, and then I have to take a photo of like one of the power washer things to just like get the details of what it looks like. And then you got to get like some kind of like like a water container on the back, and like a hose. But then what you do is I found this recording. I mamish found the recording that sounds exactly like the power washer. Like the gas engine and everything and the spritz, and you just get a recording of it, and you just walk around with the power washing noise. noise. You can drive everybody crazy. Walk around town with like a little mini power washing machine with the noise. That would be great. You walk around town with like a hose and an engine. Yeah, I think they're both great costumes. The power washer or the spaghetti with tomato sauce. Both excellent costumes. Alright, so I don't know. I guess I should probably do one of them. We'll have to see where I be. I might be away. I don't know. Alright, let's go weiter. Chevre, I had a big breakthrough. Should I tell you about this now or should I tell you about this later? I had a big breakthrough. So of course, as I think I mentioned this on Friday, it's now Sunday, that I'm wrapping up this daf. I had a big breakthrough yesterday on Shabbos, but maybe I'll tell you about my breakthrough on tomorrow's daf, which I'm going to record just right after I'm done with this daf. But Al Kaponim, let's go weiter. So So the whole Hekesha thing makes sense if you. Oh my gosh, I think on Friday I said that we were already 50 minutes into the daf. We're already over an hour for sure. Told you it's gonna be a big old daf. So, BavaKama has been extremely demanding, taking a lot of time, but it's pushing my brain to the next level. I'll tell you. So that was the big. All right, I'll tell you the big breakthrough now. I had a big breakthrough yesterday on Shabbos. So BavaKama has been so difficult that I've been struggling to keep up so much so that I actually went into Shabbos. I hadn't even finished the Gemara from the week. That's never happened before. That I go into Shabbos and I'm still not done with the. Never happens. So anyways, yesterday, before I can even learn the two daf that I needed to learn yesterday, I first had to finish up an Amud from the previous week. By the time I got to yesterday to the daf I needed to start learning yesterday, I got half an Amud in. I had to learn two daf. I was half an Amud in. My brain was mush. It was absolute mush. Absolute mush. I'm I can't go weiter. But the thing is, as we know about Babylon Talmud, there's no such thing as not going weiter. I don't say there's no option of not going weiter. I mean, if I didn't do the two daf yesterday, forget about it. When am I going to do them? As it is, I'm already behind. I need to get ahead on Shabbos. So I said, look, I don't have a choice. I got to push through the mush, right? So my brain was mush. I said, I don't know how I'm going to be able to. My brain just is not working. What do you want me to tell you? How are you supposed to learn with a brain that doesn't work? But I said I don't have a choice. I have to learn two daf. So I pushed through the mush, and the most gewaltige thing happened. The most gewaltige thing happened. It worked. I pushed my brain to new levels. I'm telling you, I pushed my brain to new levels. I'm telling you. Chevy, you know, when I get to the point when it's my brain just isn't working. It happened the other day. We were learning a big old daf. I think it was the biggest daf that we had, right? The hour and a half daf. I think at a certain point, my brain just gave in. My brain's all right, I'm done. I'm done. I'm overworked. And at that point, it becomes hard for me. Yesterday, I pushed through it. I feel I pushed my brain to new places. It's incredible. Push through the mush. Let's go weiter. So and now I feel I could do anything. I feel brain, bring it on. So if you remember back to Perek Meruba, so there was two ways to understand these two psukim of Im Yimotzei Aganif and V'im Lo Yimotzei. Right? One was to say that one of them is about a ganif and the other one is Toin Tainis Ganif. So then there's a Akesha. But the other way was to say that they're both talking about Toin Tainis Ganif. So if they're both talking about Toin Tainis Ganif, so then where's the Hekish? Where's the juxtaposition? Right? So Hanichel Mad Omer Chad Beganif V'chad B'Toin Tainis Ganif. Shapir says a juxtaposition. Elo L'Mad Omer Hi Im Yimotzei Aganif Vim lo yimotzei tarvayu b'toyin tanis ganif. But if you say that they're both talking about toyin tanis ganif, ma yikal lemeimer. So then, what is there to, so then how are you going to learn out that that by toyin tanis ganif there's daled v'hei? So amri ganif haganif. So we say, well, it could have said ganif, but it says haganif. The extra hey teaches that we include daled v'hei. So there's an addendum to the Maisa. So maybe you were wondering, okay, so after I pushed through the mush. So did I make it through both dafs? Not necessarily. So usually on Shabbos I learn. At one point I was learning like 4 daf, but then once I hit Yevamis, I push it. 2 daf was about my limit. Once I hit Yevamis, and I haven't really changed since. I always get through 2 daf on Shabbos, but I had the daf that the Amud from the previous week that I had to learn. So I actually didn't get through both dafs yesterday on Shabbos. I had to, on Motzoi Shabbos, I had to first finish Shabbos' dafs, and then actually on Motzoi Shabbos, after I finished learning what I had to do on Shabbos, on Motzoi Shabbos, then I finished what I had to do on Shabbos, but then I also had to go back and review this that I'm doing right now, which I hadn't done on Friday. I'm telling you, BavaKama has been... It's been a struggle to just like keep up. So B'chi Bar Abba asked Akasha to Rabbi Yochanan. Heichon Shori, okay, where is, because what did Rabbi Yochanan say? Rabbi Yochanan said that by Toyin Tanis Ganif there's Dal V'hei, right? So now, B'chi Bar Abba Rabbi Yochanan. Heichon Shori. So Shimon says to Reuven, hey, Reuven, where's my ox? Nignov. Reuven says, your ox? It was stolen. Mashbiacha Oni V'Omer Omen. And Shimon says, do you swear? He says, yes. Be'etzim. Ve'edim me'idim oso sha'acholu. So be'etzim, Reuven was toyin tanis ganif. He swore. But then witnesses came and said that he has it. That he has it, right, that he ate it. Okay. Mishalim tashlume kefil. So Reuven has to pay kefil. But now here's the thing. Now it says that Reuven ate the meat. Right. That Reuven ate the cow. Now how's he going to eat the cow? He's going to slaughter the cow. Tvicho mechira. And yet, v'katoni mishalim tashlume kefil in tashlume dal ve'elo. We're saying that Reuven has to pay kefil. He does not have to pay daled v'hei. Does not have to pay daled v'hei. So we see then, apparently, that by Toyin Tanis Ganif, there is no daled v'hei. And for the Gemara of Mayaskinon, Kigon Shacholu Nevela. Actually, you're assuming that he slaughtered it. He didn't slaughter it. He ate it. There was a nevela. It was not slaughtered properly, and therefore there's no daled v'hei. Right, so that's why there's no daled v'hei. But if he would have slaughtered it properly, then there would be daled v'hei. V'lishani le. Why not say kigon shacholo treifa? Why say that he ate it as a nevela, that there was no shchita? Maybe say it was a treifa, that he slaughtered it, but it turned out to be a treifa. Well, it's like Rav Meir says that an improper shchita is nonetheless considered shchita, so even if it was a treifa, there would still be daled v'hei. V'lishani le ben pakua. But why not say that there's no daled v'hei? Because it was a ben pakua. Ben pakua, I think, is you slaughter the mother, and then you find that there's actually a child in there. So that child does not need to be slaughtered. So therefore, you could have eaten it without slaughtering it, so there's no daled v'hei. Rav Meir de Omer ben pakua ton shchita. Well, it's like Rav Meir who says that even a ben pakua requires shchita. V'lishani le. Wait, I gotta rub my eye. Okay, v'lishani le. Wait, now I use my left hand. Okay, where am I? V'lishani le kigon she'omar bodin v'omu lo tzei tein lo. Why not say that the reason why he's parted from daled v'hei is because we're talking about a scenario where, I guess, Shimon took Reuven to Bezdin already, and Bezdin said, hey, you got, say Tainlo, give the ox to Shimon. Right, Shimon took Reuven to Bezdin, I guess, and Bezdin says, Reuven, you have to give the ox to Shimon. Deha, on my Rava, that Rava says, say Tainlo, that when Bezdin says to Reuven, go and give it to Shimon, at that point, Tovach Umocher Potter. If he would be Tovach Umocher at that point, then he would be Potter my time, Akom Kevon, the Paske, the Milsa V'Tovach Umocher, Have Gazlin. Well, because once Bezdin made it clear that, hey, you have to give this back, and then he Tovach Umocher it, so then he's no longer considered like a Ganif, who steals like in private, he's considered a Gazlin. The Gazlin lo mishalem tashlumei. Arba v'chmisha, and a Gazlin doesn't pay arba v'chmisha. Chayiv atalitin lo. But if Bezdin would say chayiv, you have a chiyuv to give it to him, not go give it to him, but you're obligated to give it to him. Tavach u'mocher chayiv. Then if he's tavach u'mocher, then he would pay daled v'hei. My time, how come? Kokamadlo psikale milsa akati ganefu. Because as long as I think they're not like straightforward, clear that go give it to him, so you would still be considered a ganef. Okay, fine. So why not say that it's talking about that scenario where Bezdin said that go give it to him, and then if he slaughters it, then he's part from Dalvei. Well, the time I mean, you could also say that maybe it's a scenario of a partner where they stole it together, but then only one of them slaughtered it without the knowledge of the other one. So in that case, you wouldn't be chayiv, you'd be part from Dal V'Hei. Elochada mitzvah nokat. So yeah, there were different ways that you could say be'etzim that he would be potter from Dalet V'Hei. It shows one scenario, which was that he ate it as an Aveda, but there could have been other scenarios why he would be potter for Dalet V'Hei. But in a general sense, if you have a shomer who is Toyin Tanis Ganif, and then he's Tovei Mocher, he would be chayav be'etzim in a regular scenario, he would be chayav Dalet V'Hei. V'amar B'chi Ba'aba, Amar B'Yechanan, Hatoyin Tanis Ganif Ba'aveda. Says B'chi Ba'aba, Amar B'Yechanan, Hatoyin Tanis Ganif Ba'aveda. Okay, that Ruvain finds Shimon's ox, and Shimon comes to collect it. Oh wow, you found my ox, Givaldik. And then Ruvain says, oh no, it was stolen from me. And he swears. And then witnesses come. Mishalim tashlume kefel. So Reuven's going to have to pay kefel. My time, how come? Tichsiv al kol aveda asher yomar. Because it says in the context of kefel, it mentions aveda. Okay, so if Reuven claims that the lost object that he found was stolen, but he really kept it, and then witnesses come, he'd be chayiv kefel. Eisvei Reb Abba bar Mamel le Reb Chia bar Abba. But Reb Abba bar Mamel asks a kasha on Reb Chia bar Abba. Ki yitein ish, that the pasuk says by a shomer chinam, ki yitein ish. Ein nesinas ka'in klum. Right, Shimon would have to be a adult. Right, Shimon giving an ox to Reuven to custodian. Shimon, the owner of the ox, would have to be an adult. Ein nesinas ka'in klum. Says kitein ish, has to be a ish, not a ka'in. Ve'en li elo shenosno kshu ka'in utvo kshu ka'in. Now, okay, so I know that if Shimon is a ka'in and he gives the ox to Reuven when he's a ka'in, and then he also takes him to court, right? He also says, hey, Shimon, he also says, hey, Reuven, where's my ox? When he's a ka'in, right, Shimon's still a ka'in. So in that case, there's no kefel there. Nosno kshu ka'in, but what if Shimon gives the ox to Reuven to guard when he's a ka'in? Utvo kshu gadol. That, but then, right, so as a ka'in, Shimon gives Reuven an ox to guard. Now, Shimon is an adult. And he says, okay, Reuven, give me back my ox now. And Reuven says it's stolen, and he swears, and witnesses come. Minayin, how do I know that there also Reuven would be potter? Talmud Omar, Adar Elohim Yavod Vashneim, Ajte Nisino Vitvia Shavin Ke'echad. That in the same pasuk it talks about also going to Bezdin. So we see that everything would need to be when he's an ish, both the giving to Reuven as well as the claiming it, both would have to be when he is a gadol, and if he's a katan for any part of it, then there would be no kefil. Now, ve'im isa. Now, if what Reb Chia bar Abba is saying is true, that when Reuven finds Shimon's ox, so there was no giving, but there was no nesina. Shimon never gave the ox to Reuven. Reuven found it. And if what Reb Chia bar Abba is saying is true, that if Reuven swears, right, he's Toyin Tain is gone, if he'd be chayiv kefel, well then I would think that also in a scenario where Shimon, who's a minor, gives an ox to Reuven, so there's no nesina, but then Shimon becomes an adult, and he claims it from Reuven, so that should basically be the same thing as a lost object, right? By a lost object, there's no giving, but there's claiming by a gadol. So here also, by a shomer, by a pikadon, there's no giving because Shimon was a katan when he gave it, but now he's a gadol and he's claiming it. So if what Reb Chia bar Abba is saying is correct, that there would be kefil, but then I don't understand, right? Meaning, how do we say vim isa? If what Reb Chia bar Abba is saying is correct, tehave nami ki aveda. But then we should say that Shimon, who was a minor when he gave it, so there was no giving, but he was an adult when he made a claim, should be just like an aveda, and there should be kefil. So Omar Lei, so Reb Chia bar Abba answers, Hochov ma'askinim kigon she'acholo kishu koin. Yeah, but the thing is, in this case, Shimon gave the ox to Reuven when Shimon was a kohen, and Reuven then ate it when Shimon was a kohen. So by the time Shimon was an adult, there was no longer an ox. Avokshu gadol mai, but if when Shimon was a gadol, if when Shimon was an adult, the ox was still around, sure. Hochinami de b'shalim. It's a question, but meaning, okay, we'll get there in a second. But okay, so we want to then argue that, but if Reuven had not eaten the ox, and Shimon is now an adult and he's claiming the ox that he had given to Reuven when he was a kohen, then it should be a proper claim, just like by a lost object. Yoch, if that's the case, Adatano, Ajitei, Nesino, Vitvio, Shovin Ke'echad. But if that's the case, then why are we saying that the giving and the claiming needs to be when Shimon is an adult, both of them? Really, it's listening Ajitei Achilo, Vitvio, Shovin Ke'echad. That no, it's not that that the giving and the claiming would have to both be when Shimon is an adult. That's not necessarily true. Theoretically, the giving could be even when Shimon's a kohen. It would have to be that the eating, that Reuven consuming the ox, as well as Shimon claiming, like, hey, where's my ox? Those would both have to be when he's an adult. So Amar Lei, so Reb Chia bar Abba says, Tani achitei achila v'tvia shavin ke'echad. Okay, so say that. So say that the eating, Reuven's consuming of the ox, as well as Shimon's claim from Reuven for the ox would have to be when Shimon is an adult. Rav Ashi Omar says, Rav Ashi lo dami aveda. You can't really compare these two scenarios, right? When Reuven finds a lost object and is returning it to Shimon, that cannot really be compared to when Shimon gives Reuven a ox when he's a kohen and then claims it when he's a gadol, because ka'asya, where am I? Lo dami aveda ka'asya mikoyach ben das. in the case of when Reuven finds Shimon's ox, Shimon is a ben das. It's coming from a person with das, as opposed to a kohen. Shimon giving an ox to Reuven to guard when he's a kohen. The whole thing is kind of like being set up in sort of a minor kind of perspective, and that would be potter. That was Daf Kuvav Masechta BavaKama. Hope you enjoyed. Peace out.